I was reminded by one of your comments that it's been a long time since a paint with me video. So let's go paint. I've been working on this piece for a little bit now, and yesterday I think I did the most of this painting so far. So I think it's 80% there, but now it's about bringing in contrast and finishing this little part. And yesterday I fixed up this piece, and yesterday I didn't really like it, but today I do. And I think I especially like the colors, like the super bright reddish pink. So I think today what we are going to do is we are gonna bring some brighter greens in there, maybe add some extra colors in the face because she's just green. And I want to look at this part. Like, I kind of like that here you have this painterly extra face, and I don't mind it to be a bit washed out. Like, I actually like that part. But I think this I wiped out yesterday, and there needs to be something else. And now that I'm seeing this picture next to it with like the super bright electric blue, I might actually add some of that color in here as well. It might actually be really nice over here. We can try that as well. Let me get my painting stuff, my palette ready, and then I'm gonna focus you on the part that we're painting on. See what I mean? This really does brighten up the whole thing. So we might have to do something with this blue. Maybe it can reach her face as well. Because I really like the green, I like the pink, but there's something that is a little bit too dark or too washed out in this area, and might just be this blue. I didn't think of this before. I only thought of it when I was talking about it with you guys now. Or actually I'm talking to myself at the moment, but I know in the future you're gonna watch with me. I don't wanna do anything to the middle part, I think, because I really like the details over here. But I do wanna maybe add some blue over there. My painting station is just as I left it yesterday. And I think as long as I know that I'm using my brushes the day after, it's fine to keep them a little bit dirty. But now that we are working with this completely different color, I do think I'm gonna get a new piece of tissue paper, because this one is mainly pink and green, and that's not the color that we wanna have seep through our electric blue. So let me grab some new paper. If you ever wonder why I use tissue paper instead of cloth, because cloth is actually better, it's because I just have loads of tissue paper and I use it so often, and I don't really like the way that cloth feels after I used it for a long time. Also, I can just have this tissue paper dry, and once it's dry, I can just throw it away instead of cloth, which I think is a waste to throw away so often as I do tissue paper. Oh, I think my tube has a leak. Well, whatever. This is the electric blue that we want. I get it. I haven't used it for so long. And this is the most expensive color that I own. And somehow, I think that's why it hasn't been used that often. Because you feel like you kind of have to save it for special occasions or special areas, but, well, we're gonna use it now. I also like adding a tiny, tiny bit of white to that cobalt blue, just because that way it kind of activates it. I'm not going to use it for everything, but I do like it for some areas. We're going to clean up a little bit of this mess in the middle. It's still soft because I used it yesterday. Most of this is just not usable anymore. And this way I can kind of see fresh colors on the palette. Ow, it's my finger. It's good that it's dull. I think I use this thing very irresponsibly often. But you know, it's dull, so it doesn't matter. If it's super sharp, maybe watch out a bit more how you're using it. Okay, then we have some bright blue in the corner we can still use, and some darker colors as well. All right. So this is our blue, and we're going to make a few variations of this. So this is exactly the blue that comes out of the tube. And once we add some white to it, it becomes this really nice blue hue. So that's one I really like. And we're going to use the rest. Maybe just as is, actually. Maybe make one that's even lighter. Or one with a little bit of an extra blue. I think this looks almost the same, so we're going to add some more whites. I'm coming across these color theory videos on Instagram lately, and there's this guy with, I think he's a ginger guy with like really long hair. He looks like he stepped out of a Renaissance painting, and he also teaches painting lessons, so it's kind of funny. I think that's his whole thing. But he has some painting color theory videos, and I think it's fascinating because there's definitely stuff that I can learn because I kind of just do, but it would be good to know a bit more theory about it. And then you have this one, but this is a oil pastel stick. It's not an oil stick, by the way. This is an oil stick. I know they look the same. They're even the same brand and the same width. But this is literally oil paint in a stick. And this is oil pastel in a stick. And this doesn't dry, so it's a bit different. Let me get my white sleeves out of the way. This is, by the way, a white shirt that's already dirty. So that's why I'm doing this power move with wearing a white shirt while painting. But yeah, they're really different. These are the newest additions to my collection of materials. And I really like them. But they get this film around them. And once you use them after a day or two, you kind of have to push that layer off, or you have to cut it off so you can paint again or you can draw again. But they are really, really nice. And you can still use them with medium to to use them as oil paint. And these are very different because these are a lot thicker, they're a lot fatter, and they don't really dry. But I think we're gonna see what this becomes, and maybe just make one really dark. See what that does. Okay. All right. Then for the brushes, I have this really bad brush that I kind of broke. I think this one is good because it has a bit of texture. And I'm gonna use some oil, make it a little bit softer. I recently found out that I don't have hot water in my studio, but I do have a water cooker. And I rarely wash my brushes, but sometimes I do when I have these extreme colors. And I recently found out about this soap bar. I think it's like Murphy's Old Soap. The Master's soap or something. And I thought, let's just get it. I'm really bad at keeping my brushes, and it's like magic. It's I have this little container of plastic, and I pour some hot water in it with some cold water, wash the brush in it, and then after wiping it off, by the way, after wiping most of the oil paint off, then I go into the soap, go into the container, go into the soap, go into the container, and literally like the paint just disappears. It even gets this, they get their original color back, and I don't think I've ever seen the original color of these brushes ever. So I was so surprised. I just always thought that washing my brushes wasn't for me. But it turned out I just did it the wrong way. So yeah, that was a good surprise. That was a nice find. Let's actually get to painting now. I think I'm gonna use this one as a kind of as a reference because the basic shapes are already there. But they just need a little bit of lighting up. And I painted this yesterday, so the colors are still gonna blend a little bit. It's still gonna be a little bit blendable, like soft, like wet. Wet's the word that I was looking for. Let's see. But that's good, I think, because I don't want it to be too harsh in this area. And in this case, that's why I always blend a few colors at the same time, because if I think this is too dark, then I can easily switch to that lighter color and just add it as I go, so I don't have to think about it too much. I think this blue might actually be the thing that I was missing. I think that's good. I'm gonna try to put it in a stroke next to this figure, just so I can see what it does with the other color. And because I don't know if I want it to be really bright or if I want it to be just some accents. You can always wipe it off. I can always paint over it. I mean, yesterday I made this a lot lighter and I didn't like it. I think we have a winner. I think that looks good. Maybe we're gonna make a gradient though, so I'm gonna, let me see, we still see it. Yes. I'm in front of the light a little bit, so it could be a bit darker on the camera, but you're gonna see it in a little bit once I step away. It's kind of hard to position the lights. Even though I have such a huge space, it's still kind of hard to position lights when you're painting because you see the reflection of the paint because it's wet. And I think overhead would be the best for lights. But then this painting, it just happens to be in an area where the natural light kind of just doesn't reach. So you're gonna have to deal with that. I'm sorry. Maybe we should just add little patches of this color. I'm thinking of getting this medium at the art store to make like thicker and thinner paint for oil. Never used it. I always just use more paint. But sometimes, like especially with colors like this, it can add up really easily. Like you use quite a lot of paint for a big canvas like this, and that can get really, really expensive. So that's why sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit too scarce with my paint. But then again, it's my work. And if the work gets better from more paint, I think I should find a solution for that. But also, my wallet is not endless, unfortunately. Far from it. So I kind of want to see if that will work to add like a medium, because I've never tried it. Also, because I came from acrylics, I came from using acrylics. Would be nice if I actually came from acrylics, like I was made from acrylics, but that's not what I mean. Because I used to use acrylics, like you use a lot of paint to cover a piece of paper. Like these tubes are really small compared to acrylic tubes. I think that's also a little bit weird with oil paints, that you need to use a lot to cover it, but also it's not as much as with acrylics. I don't know, it takes some getting used to. The reason, by the way, that I don't do a lot of paint with me videos is that I found out that once I do talk while painting, I kind of have to know what I'm gonna make. Otherwise, I don't get into that brain state, that like creative brain state that painting actually needs. And that's why I haven't done it that much, because there was a lot of figuring out what to do with certain paintings. And I kind of go all over the place, and it's just less interesting to film. Maybe it's interesting to you. I mean, let me know if you kind of want to see anything. I was also thinking of maybe just uploading longer videos, but with voiceovers, because then it would be kind of a podcast. I think that is nice, actually. I like that this blue color keeps coming back in every video, every painting that I make. See, that's what my brain does, like video, yeah. You're making a video, so you're gonna talk about videos, no. I think it's also the stick that I've used the most. But I kind of like this. Okay. No, but then once I film myself, once I'm still figuring out problems, then I'm kind of making it harder for myself, and because I don't know how to solve a certain problem in a painting yet. And once you're talking, then you're focusing on something else, so it's actually becoming even harder. This is nice. So I was thinking of maybe doing like voiceovers every once in a while. And this painting is already in an area that I know I can get it out of its problems if I just put in the hours. So that's why I'm comfortable taking you along on the journey. Let's see. Kind of a funny shape on the forehead. You know, if you paint something or you draw something, it's the first thing that you see once you look at a certain work. And I know tomorrow it's going to be different, but now, because I'm painting this now, the only thing I can see is this shape. And it is going to be different now, but I am only focused on this shape. It's not merging into the rest of this work yet. So I think we're going to work to make it a little bit better. Something like this. Today is also the day that I uploaded my last video, the one that you saw. I think I'm gonna upload this in 2 weeks, so you've probably seen it 2 weeks ago. And it's so funny to me that there were a few people saying like, oh, I wondered where you were. And someone even said, be nice to yourself, or like, say it with me. Like I'm actually getting my therapy, my self-love therapy from you guys. So thank you for that. That was really sweet. And you're so right, but it's also something that like it kind of just slips in. Like it's you're always so self-critical in your own work. And I think that's just something that humans do. And once you're starting to think about making stuff like releasing a video and you're not doing that, then it becomes even more important, even though it's actually not as important as you think. And it's better to just release something that is okay rather than something that is perfect. But it's something that's okay is actually more entertaining most of the time. So, I mean, that's why we all watch YouTube and we don't watch TV with producers and stuff like that. I've noticed a few channels that have gone very professional, and I actually like them less, not as a person, but as a viewer, because it doesn't feel as relating anymore. So I guess that's something that I have to watch out for. And I'm not saying that my channel is very professional. I am absolutely not saying that, because it is not. I mean, most of the footage that I shot for my last vlog, or video, I guess I should call it now, was without sound. And I only found out after I loaded it up into my computer, and I was like, well, I don't want to add music to this, so I guess we're just gonna go silent movie then. And it's just something, well, we're gonna have to deal with that stuff. And I am going to sit. Because what will we do here? I don't want that part to be too demanding for your eye. But now that I've chosen a darker color on top, like this, I think I should go lighter, but now I have this darker color here, and maybe I should just see what it does. If I make it more textured, I don't think I like the textured effect. I think I like it more like a flat color, because there's so much texture already going on here. And actually I didn't like that in the beginning either, but it looked like a sunset in the beginning, and then I painted this corner in it, but now the corner is kind of seeping through, and I like that. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but I think I like this collage effect that keeps popping up into my paintings. So that's what I wanted to do here as well. If you wonder what I'm doing when I'm going towards the camera, I'm flipping my screen because sometimes my camera just turns off and I am just talking and it's not recording. And as long as I look at that shot every once in a while, I know that I'm recording. So what are we gonna do? I think there's gonna be a lot more of this blue. So that's just what we're gonna start with. And let's see if I want it to be more light. We can always make it a lot lighter. I always like to add a sharp line first, especially because I know this part is already 90% done. I don't want to touch it too much anymore. If you're wondering, girl, just get a bigger brush. I could, but it's gonna give this different effect. And I kind of like this textured effect. I know I just said I like flat colors, and I do, but I can always make this flat, and I can see what it does textured first, and then just see what I'm gonna do with it. You can always blend this, but you can't just bring back the texture and the thickness. I think for this one I should have made a test painting as well. I don't know why I didn't do it, because I have the photo, and the photo was already very clear. But I did do a test painting for the last one, and the one before that, but somehow I just forgot for this one, I guess. So it kind of makes it harder, because like you can only go so far with the reference image, because it looks nice when it's small, but then suddenly you're going bigger and you have this whole dark area that's just doing nothing. And it might work in a small painting, but in a big painting it's just boring if there's nothing there. It's just a completely different scale. I think I like this direction, yes. I thought it was looking too dark, so this is a good progression. I just went to the bookstore this morning, by the way, and I think most of you have seen, if you're new here, hello, but let's just not go for the if you're new here. Might as well check out another video then and subscribe. No, I just went to the bookstore, and I think most of you know that I finished The Artist's Way last year, which I really liked, because it was this workbook. And then there was this other book that a lot of people recommended by Rick Rubin. And they had it in a bookstore, and I wanted to take it with me, but it ended up being way cheaper online, like at least 30%. And I normally am a fan of going to the bookstore, but this was just like 35 euros or 23 euros, and that's just a little bit too much of a difference. So I ordered it online, and I am really curious to see how I like it. If you liked it, let me know why. And if you have similar books that you liked, also let me know. I will let you know what I think of it. And I also picked up Atomic Habits, which I've heard a lot about. I think it's an older book. I don't think it's new. And it's about like changing tiny habits, and it can have like a big effect. And I think, I mean, they're both self-help books, I guess. The Atomic Habit is like more self-help than Rick Rubin. But I felt like there was space in my brain for more self-help books. And I like reading them in the studio because I'm almost finished my book about platforms, and that is not a self-help book, but it is nonfiction. And I like reading nonfiction books in the studio because then in my break, I'm not on my phone, but I am reading. And that sounds a lot better for my brain. Can you still see what I'm doing? I think I am gonna move you a little bit. And I'm moving this cart. Getting back with the oil pastel. You do have to be careful with this color, by the way, because it's just one color, you're not blending it. So you kind of have to be careful that you're not applying the same color all over. And saying that, I just remembered I have a light blue, which may or may not work. But let's see. I think this is a completely different color. I don't know if I like this yet, but let's just put it on there. See what it does. I think this is the second most used color that I use. And you can see it, you can like see it come back in a lot of paintings. I think it's too bright, so I think I'm just gonna use some paint over this, but maybe it might be nice over here. And we get to the next problem area, because here I use this washed out wind effect. I have no idea what the actual term is, but it looks like I blended it to the side, and I did. I mean, that's literally what I did. I've seen other artists do that, and I think it always looks really nice. So I thought, let's just try it out for myself. And I did it in a few areas, but this is the only area that I kept it. But do we like it in that spot, or do we need to tape it maybe? Maybe we should tape it because it looks like that is coming out, and it would be a shame if I painted over it accidentally. So we're getting the tape. And now I just got this blue tape, by the way. If you use paper tape, get the blue tape or frog tape. It's way, way better. You see it on, you can notice that I'm addicted to social media. You can see it on all these artist reels as well. When someone airbrushes something, they always use the blue tape or red. You have it in red as well, or green, because this just comes off the easiest. And you can spend hours making this very, very soft. But is that something that we like? I don't know if that is something that we like. You can even cut it in a shape that you like. But also, I think the thing that I kind of like in this, from this tape, is that it makes these sharp corners. Kind of, because all my paintings are, they're pretty soft, so I like the harsh contrast to that, because it's so, yeah, this is a lot harsher. I'm kind of manipulating the tape with my nail right now, so that the little corners that peek out, they don't make ugly spots. That's it. All right, you still have a chance, by the way, for paint to get under this, so it's not a 100% guarantee. But I've noticed that if I let it dry long enough, chances are it's going to be fine. With oil paint, obviously, it's going to be longer than with acrylics, but I think this is going to be fine. And if there's a little bit underneath, it's also okay, because, well, we're painting, we're not making buildings. Let's see, we need more white. And we need more blue, the bright one. Yes. I think, let me show you my palette. We're gonna mix this blue, but we know that if we do this, we're gonna get this blue. So how will we get that blue? Well, I have this one. This is too dark. This is where advanced knowledge of color theory would come in nicely, because I actually don't know how they mixed this color on my palette. I know how I get this, but I bought this tube and I actually don't really know how I make this one. I think I'd have to start from the beginning, so I have to get, well, no, I'm not, no, I'm actually not gonna start from the beginning. No, I don't know. Maybe add like a tiny bit of like lemon yellow, that's my guess, but you know, I have the easy option here, so I'm gonna definitely use the easy option, but just, if you are at home and thinking, wow, she knows so much about color mixing. Actually, I do not. I just cheat a little bit sometimes. And it works. I get the same result, which is, I guess, what you're looking for. Let me get some white. I want a lighter blue. So much blue. I'm so glad that I got this mixing palette knife, by the way. I used to have this really big one, and for colors like this, or like patches of this, like they don't really work, so really glad with this size. Anyway, get some off there. And let's get you back to the painting. All right. Okay, so let's cover a little bit of this oil pastel. And that's actually something that I really like of this oil pastel as well. Once you layer on top of it, it gives this weird effect. And I think if you use oil, it works even better, because then it kind of blends into each other. And it kind of adds this extra texture. And I like to have it seep through a little bit, but I don't want it to be so... in Dutch the word is aanwezig, I guess. Visible. What would be the word? There. I don't want it to be so there. Guess that's good. Areas like this are like their whole own painting in itself, I think. There's this area where you can play with texture, and yeah, you can kind of, once you zoom in there, you kind of see this whole different image. I think that these are the colors that I like together though. I think in the beginning, I thought I was gonna make a green painting. And I think I say this every time, but every time I think, let's just stick with a color palette. I just can't do it with a big size like this. It just, for me, it becomes too boring, too repetitive, and I just don't stick with it. I guess that's also the power of my work, but now you're kind of seeing the how that works. Oh, nice, it's dark. No, it's too dark. Let's just make it blue, because that was not in the painting yet, but now it is, and it looks good. What's funny to me, by the way, now that I'm painting near the edge of the painting, I came across this thread on Threads, and I think it was all about if you should paint the edges of your painting and if galleries would prefer it to have painted edges. And it was so funny to me because I've never heard anyone talk about that. Like, I don't think anyone cares. And it was this whole discussion if that was a thing or if it wasn't. And I literally see pieces in galleries painted on cardboard and trash, and that's called art. And there was this group of people just discussing if it was bad that some people didn't paint their edges. And every time I come near the edge of a painting, I think about it, because I do not paint my edges. I think they are really beautiful raw, because they kind of, even if the painting is fully rendered, there's this raw edge on the edge of the painting that is showing all these layers and all these brush strokes on the side, and maybe even what color the base color was. And you don't see that in a finished painting. I mean, you finished it, so you don't see it. And I get that people paint it. It looks nice sometimes. But why would you decide for someone else that that is something that you should do? That's just, that part just cracked me up. Like, I've never heard people talking about this. I see trash canvases every time in museums or in galleries, and then somehow this is a thing that people on the internet want to talk about. Yeah. Let me get a little bit of that blue up there. I think I really like this, actually. And now, because the rest of the painting is quite soft, it's pretty blended. I think that's in my new series. I blended a lot, and that makes the women that I paint, or the self-portraits that I paint, really soft. But this part is kind of a mix right now, and I think I like that, because this green part is really soft, and then that part is really raw. I am thinking maybe if I need to repaint some of the green though, but I'm not sure, because if I repaint this green, it would mean that I'd have to repaint this entire part. So, and I don't know if I want to do that, because it would also remove the nice parts. It could be fixed with varnish, could be deeper with varnish. But I haven't put varnish on my big paintings in a while now. I've only done it with small paintings, I think, because you need to wait quite a long time for oil paint to dry. I think it's like 6 months to varnish it. And by that time, I kind of forgot about it. So you can varnish it before, but there's like this chance that it'll crack, which honestly, I don't even know if that's really bad. Might not be too bad, because it looks, I mean, I guess it's not the technical way to go, but I don't really mind the look. But yeah, so that's why I haven't really varnished it. So all these oil colors are just unvarnished, and once they're wet, they're really deep, but once they dry, they can become a little bit flatter. So I don't know yet. Maybe we can do that as well. Maybe you can get some lighter green. Yeah, get some lighter green. I'm just gonna get some lemon yellow and mix it with some of the blues that I have, because that's gonna make that nice green. Let's see. See, she does know about color theory. Blue and yellow, they make green. I think this is a little bit too... Oh, that's nice actually. It's kind of like a minty green. Don't like it over there though. Finger painting with oil paint. What a bad idea. I'm gonna zoom you out a little bit. So we're not working on one part now. We're just gonna see what parts are nice with some minty greens. And looking at this foot over here, I think this foot is kind of waiting for me to, oh, that's really bright. Well, let's just do it, whatever. With some oil though. Again with the finger painting, but that's because my brush is really bad. I'm gonna wash my hands thoroughly after this, by the way, don't worry. I like that area because it catches the light, and then I think because we did it over there, we need to do it in another area as well. Maybe get some more whites in there. Like this area. I really like this area as well because it's like the inside of an elbow, and I don't know if you've looked at your own elbow recently, but it does not look like this. But I really like the shadows, and at some point I was just playing, making like these intuitive lines all over the place. And they were kind of fun. And I just kept adding to it. And at some point you get this, I don't know, landscape landscape elbow. And I don't want to touch that anymore. I think maybe the most favorite part of this painting right now is this area. Maybe I could just cut it apart and just frame this part. Let's see. Don't want to do too much over here, but it can have some extra light, like super subtle, of course. I fucked it up there. Get that thing away. Let's see if we can bring this color back into the face. Maybe a bit more yellow. What we can do about that, because there's a lot of texture here, which I guess I like, but it's also nowhere in the rest of the painting. So I've kind of been thinking, like, how can I fix that? Do I need to have her eyelashes be as black as they are right now, because they're quite dark? Or can they be green? And maybe they can be a little bit more blue. This brush is way too thick for this, but let's try it. I think that makes her look softer already. And then we can bring it back in the lips. So I think those are really dark as well. They don't really have, because they're so dark, they don't have that much depth to them. I think I wanted to make the upper lip a lot brighter anyway. The way they're painted right now, they are painted as lipstick, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I am a lipstick girl. They can be a little bit more like this. Guess a little less black. And now the lower part is too bright. Let's go back. Make it a bit more fitting to each other. Get some light in there. Made it too light. So we're going back. Add some darker color. With lips, I think you kind of get it right away, or you're just constantly tweaking. And this is the tweaking type of painting, because those are kind of hard to see, I have to say, with the lights shining up on it. Let me bring you a little bit closer. That is what we're talking about. And it is really hard to see because there's lights coming from this direction. But maybe if I stand in the way of the lights, you can kind of see it a little bit better. But they just seem a little bit flat. And I guess something like this is a little better. It's really, yeah, it's. I think I have to look at it tomorrow because it's really hard to see, especially because in the face, the only part that is wet are the lips and this part. And you can kind of, your eye kind of goes to those areas, so you hyper focus. And it's really hard to see the big picture that way. Maybe they're just too defined for the rest of the painting. I'm not sure yet. Anyway, let's bring like a little bit of blue. I need to get one of those sticks that you can kind of just put on a painting and then you have like this steady hand, because I'm just painting in the air and that is kind of hard to do. And I want to bring some light blue in the nose. Let me clean my brush for a little bit. Let's see, because this area is a little bit too green, I think. Just tiny bit with my idiot brush. Almost looks like a nose piercing now, but could be a bit more shape to it. Thank you very much. Yes, that's better. Also here. Yes, that looks good from a distance. A lot of things don't look good from up close, but from a distance they look good. Okay. Now let's see, I'm gonna bring you back again. This is gonna turn into a long paint with me video. See, something like this. We only have 5 minutes on this recording left. Let's see how far we get. I think I really like this new part. I love this part. I like the hand. I am a fan of the foot, even though I don't like feet. I like the blue part over there. I think this one blends into the background, which I wanted, so that is a good thing. I don't mind that there's no blue reflecting from here into this part. It's only reflecting in the face. I think that's okay. I like the background. You can't really see it on the camera. It's really hard to light well once the light comes from the side, because I have to walk back to see it. So that's just a little bit of a technical difficulty. I'll show you in the photo, hopefully, how it looks. And what do we still need? I think there's, there might be this area of the face that is a bit too flat, I think, still. So we might make that darker. I think that's the last thing we're gonna do. All right, there we are. So I'm gonna make the other side of the face, this part, a little darker, because I feel like it's a bit washed out over here, and I don't like that. I think it's gonna fall flat. So I got some indigo. It's not a, it's not black, but indigo, so it's a little blue. And I got some Prussian blue, and I'm gonna mix those two. Add a little bit of oil. Let's see what areas we can make black. And honestly, I think it's all of them, because I think this part is gonna be a lot darker. And then there's this little shade of the side of the face, which I am gonna leave blank, but I'm gonna go over that with another color, because I think it's a little bit too, I don't know, too soft, too nothing. It's just nothing. There's nothing going on. And there was a little bit of green in that face area, so I'm gonna get that back. And I'm painting in the shape that the face is supposed to be. Get a little bit of the chin back. I mean, at this point, we're all about contrast. And I did not like the contrast on this part of the face. I'm also adding a little bit of that darker color to the body again, because that way you can see that the shadow is continuing on the other side. Let's see, we have a little bit of yellow over here. So I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow and I'll put that color on top here, just so we know it's gonna continue. And here we can add some more light, because those are the higher areas. In general, you get a bit more light over there. I'm just mixing it with that dark color. I find that easier sometimes than putting it on there right away next to each other. Sometimes that works, but once it's already quite dark, I think sometimes for me this works better. So I kind of just switch between techniques. See, I do like this, but I think now it's too white. And maybe, just maybe, it needs to be pink or yellow. Does it need to be more yellow like this, or does it need to be more pink like this? I think I like yellow as well. So I don't really have it in the rest of that area, just over there. Let's see what it does. Ooh. I'm just gonna get a cadmium yellow, and then we're not gonna make it pure yellow, we're gonna make it a little bit, tiny bit darker. Or lighter, no, I'm saying darker, but I mean lighter. Let's see if that looks nice. That could look really nice. All right, so this is a steady hand job. Okay, as I said it, and I'm taking it back, but you need a steady hand for this, and I don't know if I'm gonna do it, so I'm gonna shut up and then see if it works. Okay, I don't like that. Okay, let's see. This is shaky over here. Maybe that's better. Let me look from a distance. No, it's too much. I'm gonna bring some dark indigo back. Go over a little part of the painting. See what that does. So I'm not undoing it. Would be nice if we had Command C or painting. Also wouldn't be nice because it would be the same as digital art. Let's see. Okay. Maybe that is the answer. Let's go over it. Leave a tiny, tiny bit. All right. That's way better. I'm gonna move you a little bit closer because I think it's hard to see. Do you see the difference? If I painted in this corner, by the way, in this way of filming, I wouldn't be able to paint, just so you know. That's why I don't bring it closer. But I do like how it looks on camera. What we can do though is add a little little bit of green to the eyes. My face is probably in front of the camera. And I can't really see it because it's too high for me, but I think that is nice. And then let's go back to those lips again. Because maybe it's because it's too blue, it's not green enough, that it looks a bit weird. All right, so this one, a little bit of blue. We're almost there. Not saying it's completely finished. I am saying that we're almost there with the video. There's probably some parts that I want to fix off camera. Because I need to look at it and look at it again and look at it again, and that's very boring, I can tell you. But I think if I bring you guys back a little bit, let me see if that works. If that works better. Zoom you in a little bit. Get the lights to be over here. It's a little bit better. Let me show you what it looks without the light. Ta-da! You see the black area in the right corner? It's way darker. It actually isn't gray. However, you're not able to see anything else. So that's why I have the lights on. Also with the face, if you see the lights are off, then you can see all the light coming from the left side. If you come here, you see here, all the light is coming from the left side, and this is a lot darker. However, if I turn on the lights, ta-da, it looks like there's this white spot in the middle of the face, and that's actually not there. That's just the brightness of reflection. I think she's almost done. I do need to sign her still, but that's gonna be later. And we're gonna do something. I'm gonna remove the tape, which is, I think this is so fun. I hope not a lot of it came under it. Let's see what happened. And this part was already fully dry. Don't worry. I think that's cool. I want to touch up one thing though. There's this weird corner here. It's a little bit too straight. Yes, I think the blue was a good choice. I'm happy that this reference image was hanging next to it, because otherwise I never would have thought of it. Because I Photoshop sometimes colors that I can use in my paintings, because it's quite a big area, so I don't want to waste all the paint and then decide, oh, that's not it. I mean, sometimes you do, but that's inevitable, but I don't want to waste it on purpose. But I actually did not think of that blue. And now I do really like it, so that's good. I think the last things that I'm gonna fix, I am gonna go over this part. I like it in the body, but I know this is only one layer, and this looks a little bit messy with just this layer. So I'm gonna fix that later. But for the rest, I'm quite happy. Let me see where we are. So I am gonna be super bright because the light is right in front of me. But I hope you enjoyed this Paint With Me video. I think the last one was last year. It was in the previous studio. And yeah, let me know if you liked it. Reply, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't yet. I think you probably have, because this is like a podcast kind of lengthy video. But yeah, I enjoyed spending time with you. I think this time it wasn't as consuming as last time, talking wise. Maybe I'm also just used to talking to the camera a little bit more. But I think this time my brain worked with painting and talking at the same time. Doesn't always, but this time it did. So yes, I'm happy. Bye.